Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Inclusion Starts Now. Today, I'm actually talking to one of my family members. This is one of my cousins that I was closest with growing up, and he also is in education. And we are going to learn a little bit about his story and just kind of like teaching techniques and values that he has, that he brings into the classroom that I think will be really helpful for listeners because I think a lot of people struggle with like how do we handle all the behaviors? Where are they coming from? How do I support them and also get learning done? And this is just a very candid conversation. We have not actually like spoken outside of like texting in a while. So this was just also a really fun time for us to catch up. So I hope you enjoy.
I'm gonna empty out my trash really quick.
In the
Did you
middle
hear
of the
that?
recording.
What?
No, I was like, nothing. I'm gonna empty my trash. We just started
Oh,
recording.
I
I
I
have
meant
important
like
things to do.
I meant my virtual trash because every
Oh, yes. The virtual
every
trash.
anywho, we are recording. You are my cousin and I want I actually don't know your job position, like your title or the age group. I think I've recently asked you on social media, but can you tell
Yes.
all the listeners?
So, I am a seventh and eighth grade science teacher. So our ages are like 11 through 14. If we really stretch it, I got probably one of all of those. Um, but and I teach in 29 Palms. So that's out in the like rural desert. Um, yeah.
Um, weren't you like a counselor before? Or didn't you have a
Uh,
different position than teaching for a little bit? Or am I just like totally
oh,
crazy?
so no, so before this position, I had a different position as a science teacher. And then before that position, I was an independent study teacher for high school students.
Oh,
So,
okay.
independent study teacher is like somebody who just meets with students one on one, and they just bring all of their work that they did for the week and showed you that they did it. I grade it, give them some advice, give them new work for the next week, and then we do the same thing. So I did that for a year for high school. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Very low stress job,
Yeah.
but apparently my calling is in the seventh grade classroom, not there.
Oh, did they like
So
move you?
no, because of weird uh things,
Like
reciprocity things
credentials or
between
something?
states, I can't it because I taught at that independent study school. Massachusetts is not accepting that experience as valuable or valued experience to transfer to be able to teach there.
Oh,
So that's why I'm back here in California teaching again, because I'm trying to make up 1 year that I had taught at that high school to show them that I
whoa.
am an acceptable middle school teacher and I can continue teaching middle school and mass. Yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous,
interesting.
but mhm.
Wow. I literally just had to pay a fee to come over and with my teaching credential from California to Washington. I was like ready to take a history test. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna have to do? And they're like, just pay $30 or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh, okay.
No, they wanted me to go back to school for 2 years. And I
Two
said,
years?
no, I will not do that. I will go back to California, teach a year, and come back. Thank you.
Wow.
And that's what I'm doing. Because I was like, I'm not going to go
Dang.
back for school for 2 years so I can live and teach out there.
No, no, that
No,
sounds
I'm done with
bad.
that. I'm
Um,
educated.
I am educated. So educated, I will move away.
Exactly.
Um, okay, so why I asked you to be here, other than that we haven't talked in a few years because you actively try to avoid me,
I will
it
never.
feels like. No, but why okay, it was because I posted something about behavior And my mom was the one who messaged me and was like, uh, we were talking about like consequences. Because a lot of times when I talk about behaviors, people love to say to me, they're like, oh, so if a kid hits, but they have a disability, just like nothing happens. And I was like, that's like, I never say that. That's not what I've said, but I say that there needs to be a consequence that makes sense for the student and for the school. Um, so my mom responded being like, asking like, well, what kind of consequence would you get from like having a water bottle thrown at your head or something? And I was like, oh, that was specific. Like, I don't know. It depends. Like, why? Like, what happened? Like, I like, what's the story? Like, where'd you get that from? And she was like, oh, well, that happened to your cousin Matt. And I was like, oh, I guess I should listen to his story because and I remember years ago we've talked about you got like a PBIS training. And I don't feel like they taught it well to you or to your like school. So I don't know. What is your experience with behaviors and what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, behavior is since before and then after COVID is two different things. Where I see a lot more of the extreme things that I used to only barely see in the before COVID BC. And but now like I see these aggressive behaviors either to each other or towards like an adult or a teacher um just so much more often. So that's one thing. So like yes, I've been hit by a water bottle several times this year from different students for completely different reasons, and all of them had to be dealt with differently. And that's how you deal with discipline. You got to take them as they come. I wish there was like clear cut, like, the God of the law of God that came through and be like, when you did this, this happens. But
Yeah.
that just doesn't happen. Like, there's not enough personnel to like make these consequences happen, and I can still continue and teach and do what I do. Um, I think a lot of us teachers are trying to find ways to create natural consequences in the classroom, because if you can deal with it in the classroom before it leaves, then it has a resolution. But once it leaves the classroom and it gets resolved somewhere else, the resolution doesn't come back to the classroom.
Yeah.
The resolution only exists in the office with that administrator. So most of us teachers that are trying hard to like keep our classrooms together without them destroying everything, trying to figure out ways to do it in the classroom, which is hard, and it's not perfect.
Yeah. And do you get training for the school that you're at right now?
Mm, we do get training, but not with PBIS or behavior. This year they focus on UDL.
Hmm.
So we're
Oh, that's
trained
awesome.
exclusively on UDL all year long.
Did you
um,
like UDL? That's not really about
um,
behaviors, but
I am just at the tail end of it, finally feeling like I have the bandwidth to attempt some of the strategies in there.
yeah.
Well, a lot of the strategies I naturally am doing, like, include in community into the classroom, making sure that your students have a sense of connection to each other, to me as the teacher, to parents, like that. That is something that is naturally happening for me. But to create lesson plans and assignments that give students so many options to
Hmm.
show their learning, that was hard for me because that takes a lot of extra steps, and I'm planning everything the day of. So every day I'm planning my lessons before they come in at 8 a.m. um,
Yeah.
so to plan like all this differentiation on there was like, I can't do that. But at the end of the year now, I'm starting to do that a little bit, and it's been fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy I enjoy when I have the time to do UDL correctly. It's
Yeah.
great.
Do you feel like it's gotten any easier? UDL is Universal Design of Learning. I don't know if anybody wouldn't know that on here, but might as well say it. Um, do you know who you're doing it through? Is it through
Um,
Novak Education? That
yeah,
was all I
no,
wanted to know.
what is it? Inclusive. It's like inclusive design or inclusive ed or something like that is the
Okay.
name of the program that's doing it. And they tell me every time they start the program, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Because
Um,
all you think about is, no, it's not inclusion starts now, so it's nothing to me. It's
it's not
trash.
inclusion starts now. It did not start with them. It started with you, Kayla. But I think they are based out of Washington, if that's any
Oh,
consolation.
cool.
Um,
Well, no, because I was trying to think of different groups that I know, but yeah, if it starts with the word inclusive, I'm gonna forget a lot of it. I do forget a lot of them because I don't know, there's just so many that are close. Um, okay, but so UDL, do you feel like it's gotten better? Okay, this is not supposed to be about UDL, but I am now just really interested. Do you feel like you've gotten better at like even if you don't plan it, like are you quicker to like make modifications kind of like on the spot or like for a student who needs it?
yes, I mean that like differentiation has been kind of like survival mode teacher that a lot of us been doing. Like, like you get thrown a new student every week. You don't even know if they have an IEP until like it's too late, but you can tell they need something. So I think we're constantly differentiating things just based on what the observable need is. That's like survival mode teaching, and I really want to get out of feeling that way because it's like high stress, like to feel like you never know what you really like have in front of you. You're just responding to what's going on. So I'm trying to get into the plan where I plan my lessons and I have some scaffolding already available because I know that students are going to need it. And then when I do need those things, they're already there for me for students that need it. Um, I mean, and a lot of teachers look at me being like, duh, like, shouldn't you have always been doing that? I'm like, no, because no one provided me with any curriculum and I have to write it all myself. So, like, that takes a
Yeah.
lot of time for me to do. And I'm not perfect. So, chill. so, but like, I do feel like, now I'm finally getting to the point where that's gotten a lot easier.
Yeah. Are these non-teachers who say this to you?
No, they are, yes, some of them are things called parents, and the others are like husband and then some like veteran teachers too will be like,
Yeah.
this will be easier and not too long. So
I mean, I do think that's true. I do think that there's like this time where you just have to like be uncomfortable and be wrong, and you're trying to figure out like your own teaching techniques and then how you're going to deal with things because like there's always going to be some like behavior like we're humans as you said you're not perfect nobody is and to like respond to other people's behavior is always like up in the air like we
mhm.
can't always respond the way that we want to respond um so I feel like I don't know. I think that's funny that, well, actually, you know what? I don't, I was gonna say I think that's funny that parents are saying that, but that's not true because parents have like just their little group of kids, like, 1 to 3, however many kids they have. Um, which is so different than like a classroom of however many kids. And then it's a classroom full of like diversity, like of different backgrounds and different parenting techniques that you're all like putting into one class, hoping that they're going to listen. And you were in, how did you describe the place? that you live? Rural. That's what you said?
Rural. Hmm.
Rural.
Rural. Rural.
Am I saying it wrong?
I don't know. Are you?
Rural.
Rural. Rural.
Rural.
It's rural.
Um, is your class small or are they like all bussed in from like miles around?
Busting for miles around. My class, like classroom size is 33 to 36. It's
Oh,
pretty big. I have a couple classes that are 30 and I have one random one that's 28. But most of them are 33 to 36. Um,
okay.
so yeah, and yeah, it's a big classroom. It's too big. I wish it was smaller. They have too much room to run around in there. Um, and but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never like I've only worked in like cities. Like I've never been other than like me driving out and meeting people at those rural areas.
Hmm.
Rural. I don't feel like I'm saying that right.
You're
Um
not. No, you are.
Man, but it's like I mean even like so I guess working in the like disability realm of it all, like that's probably my biggest experience of like kids not going to their home schools and so they're like
Mm,
driving further away and like just the added stress of that on kids. I don't know. I feel like that might be in like I would just be interested in like the behaviors that come out of that. Like, I don't even like driving. If I have to drive like 15 minutes to a job site every day, that feels like too long. Okay, 15, maybe that's like kind of short, like 20.
yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is, some of the kids that come from the furthest, I'm kind of thinking about them in my head. I'm like, okay, like JJ,
Don't say their
um,
names.
that's not her real name. But but like it's they are different, but well, like well adjusted kids. Like they are the ones that can like sit through the entire exam and not have to like have a freak out moment in the at some
Yeah,
point, and like and they just have like a different sort of patience in them, and all of them that I can think about like have like maybe a little bit more independence
oh,
when you come from an area like that than versus when like I have other kids that live downtown in 29. Their independence is very minimal. Like they need a lot of extra support on just like they're taking care of themselves, taking care of their backpack, that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Whereas my kids that are bussed in, like I don't got to worry about them.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Huh. Maybe it's like meditative. I keep wanting to meditate with my kids to see if that helps them be bored, I guess. So they're having a really hard time with being bored.
Mm.
Um, but I wanted to say, do you feel like the problem, okay, so like the example of like they can't get through an exam without like having a freak out, do you feel like that happened pre-COVID or is that one of the post-COVID behaviors that you've been seeing?
I think it's kind of a post-COVID. Yeah, yeah, it's very post-COVID-y. Like for instance, the behavior would be just the need for attention. Like they went 15 minutes and no one paid attention to them. So they're gonna do something to make sure
Yeah,
everyone turns their eye to them. And it'll be can be really simple or it could be really annoying. But they'll do something to like make sure that everyone was disrupted and they got a little bit of attention. And they'll keep doing it until I have an equally abrupt freak out to make them stop. If I just politely tell them to stop, they won't stop. I have to aggressively tell them to stop. or else they don't believe me. They don't believe that like I care enough or something.
Yeah.
That's the point that is annoying to me. I don't mind doing corrections. I just wish I don't have to put like aggressive emotion behind my corrections for them to work. Like
Yeah.
that tires you out as a teacher at the end of the day.
I can't even imagine you aggressively talking to someone.
Well, you know what? It happens. And it's more like, I mean, do you have a dog yet?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, so yeah, when you're like trying to do like that, like sit, like you have to tell them that your dog, you're not like sit, you have to let them know that in your voice there's a
Yeah.
seriousness that means business. And that voice now used to just be serious, but now it has to come with like a flaming sword sometimes, like I have to like lay down like serious law in the tone of my voice where I used to didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So anyways.
That's interesting. Because I also feel like during COVID, technology, like I don't know any data on this, but I feel like technology usage like also went up. I mean, maybe because we were like bored and stuck in our houses, but like, isn't that like when TikTok went huge? I don't know. I don't know when all
Yeah,
that went, but it
I
feels
would say
like,
so.
because I mean, I feel like I was barely on social media. Like I was posting, wait, I mean, like I know I had social media, but I don't think I ever thought of it as a job until COVID.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
influencing as like a thing that anyone can do, that COVID inspired that. Like anyone can
Yeah.
be an influencer. Before that, you had to be special. But then all of a sudden, like, wait, I am special. I can do this. And then everyone started doing it. And then we found, discovered a lot of cool people that do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But yeah, no, technology is a big, distraction. My classroom is like Stone Age. I don't have working computers. Before I even got to the classroom this year, the students all destroyed them in the first month. Like ripped off all the keys, destroyed the
Oh my
screens.
gosh.
Yeah, they're just, were animals because they had a substitute for about a month until I they hired me on. So
Yeah.
so we haven't had any technology in the classroom, but um but yeah, phones are still a problem.
I was
That's
gonna
another
ask
thing.
if you have a phone policy at your school.
We do. It has evolved throughout the school year, which is a bad thing. You don't want evolving policies. You want them to be like firm.
Yeah.
So that was the first misstep, is they like tried to, make things stricter, and then they relaxed the policy because they felt like it was impossible. And then after that, everyone kind of gave up. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's
policy
hard if
is,
all the teachers aren't on board. Because I've been a
yeah,
middle school teacher and I remember some of the rules I was just like and I felt like I didn't know the kids. Like I was the special education teacher and so if like you're not allowed to wear crop tops, but I see like 10 people wearing crop tops, like they don't know who I am. I'm like coming at me like, "Hey, you shouldn't be wearing that. Go to the principal's office." And I'm like it was like a weird it was a huge school. But there were some rules that like, and I could even like the students would even talk about like how some teachers were like super strict and some weren't. And they knew like, when they could take their sweater off because like this teacher's not going to say anything. And I was like, yeah, this just like this doesn't work if not everyone's on board.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like the phone policy, earbuds, you know. I tend to be on the more relaxed when it comes to this stuff,
What?
because
You?
mostly just because um, policing is a distraction from learning. And I am so over being a policeman because whenever I'm policing, I'm not teaching, and my students don't get to learn new information, and I think that's a problem. Um,
Yeah.
and so, especially in the middle school, where you have so many bad behaviors all the time, you like almost never get to the learning portion of anything, and it's like, why did you even come to school? So I do relax on a lot of things if I see that it's not causing a second issue in the room,
Yeah.
if someone's on their phone and they're done with their assignment, and they are doing it in a way that's being like not trying to show that they're on their phone, that they're trying to almost be sneaky about it, I'll let them, because they're like, they don't want other people to know they're on their phone. They don't want me to know their phone. They already finished what they're doing. They're just trying to keep themselves entertained for a second because they're done. That's a situation I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna like not look at that, because soon as I point out
Yeah.
that that's their phone, then I am doing the whole policeman thing. I'm not going around the room helping out what's his face because he needs help actually on his assignment. I'm over there confiscating the
Yeah.
phone, putting in the envelope, calling security, waiting for security, giving it to security, then filling out the report. Like that's in
Yeah.
almost 10 minutes over,
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
and so like that's my natural inclination. But when, people admin comes into the room guns blazing, like we need to be stricter on the phone policy, I'll do it. And I start doing it and I will keep doing it. But I tap out at some point. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep confiscating the phone 1,000 times.
Hmm.
Like, I'm bored of it. I want to teach. So if the kids don't learn by month 5, I start relaxing on the rules. And that's where we are right now.
What behavior training do you feel like has been the most helpful? Because already I love like everything you just said, I feel like was really understanding of like they're trying to entertain themselves. They're not being disruptive to the class. They finish their assignment. Like you clearly were able to like observe like what is actually a problem and what's not. Like, so do you feel like you learned that from behavioral training, like that you liked, or do you just feel like that's common sense as a human being? Because I
Um,
don't think it's
well,
common sense.
I'll say initially in my brain, it feels common sense. But the one I will say though, I had like a really cool, and I don't know if it's a behavior, I think it is a behavior training called the nurtured heart approach, where, you and the biggest thing that comes from that is like when, and this was like an elementary school age thing. I'm not using this in middle school. I don't think it would work, but in elementary school, a kid is, uh gets out of his seat, he's mad, and then he throws something, at the girl across, you know the table. And so you go over to that kid and be like, what did you just do? Oh, I threw that. All right, take a break. That means they're gonna sit there wherever they are and count to 10, either with their eyes closed or with their hands behind their eyes or something. They're gonna count to 10. And when they're done counting, they continue doing exactly what they're doing. That was it. Take a break. But they all knew what to do in that moment. That was their means of correction. So sometimes they would need to take 10 breaks in, a day. And then sometimes it was 5. But usually that consistent type of correction over the year would work, where you very rarely you would have someone doing the same thing over and over and over again for weeks and weeks and weeks. Eventually it would kind of go away. That was kind of cool. So they had us all doing that at this
Was
after
there
school thing.
anything else? Like it was just take a break? Like was there any sort of like talking out the issue that happened or
Yeah, I mean, and that, I guess that's what you have to judge afterwards, depending on what happens. And I would say that I would say the biggest thing is that you don't approach every situation the same. Not everything needs to sit down talk, and let's, because if they already know it, then they know it. Don't smack them with
Yeah.
it again, because now they think that you're just doing it to make them mad. They don't think that you're doing it because you care about correcting them. They think that I am just doing this to aggravate them. So you have to kind of ebb and flow where your correction goes. If I don't know, if you have a really chaotic mix of a lot of different kind of students, which I have. I have
Yeah.
high learners, low learners, in between, and out in space. Like they are all over the place, and then they also all have different behaviors. Some of my best students have my worst behavior, and they are really, really hard because they're
Yeah.
smart. um and I have to figure out, how do I correct them? um and it's hard. A lot of times I have to throw them at admin because I can't figure out how to correct them in the classroom.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is just so spot on though with the behavior. It's like again, this is like something that I have told to me a lot on social media that people will be like they'll name a behavior and they're just like, "Oh, so I'm just not supposed to do anything for this behavior." And I'm just like, that's not what I'm saying, but it's like it's a step. It's like, well, why did they do it? Like, do you know like what happened? Like, do you know about their morning or night or their home life? Like, do you know anything about that? Like, could that have triggered something at school? Like, it's hard because that's like a lot that I don't think teachers really get like appreciated for, like how much they have to focus on social emotional learning at like basically a person's first professional environment. Um, because yeah, I mean, I think that was also being a teacher and then having kids. It was when my oldest turned 3 that I was like, you need another adult to tell you what to do. Like we don't like we are at home all the time. Like yeah, when we got to like the library, there's like different expectations of like what our voices are like or how we, communicate our needs here or how we share with other people. But like it was getting so hard at home that I'm like, you also need to like understand what it's like to be with like other kids and another adult telling you what to do. And it was probably the first time because I really thought I could homeschool until my oldest turned 3, and I was like, I don't think I can. I don't think this would work because I just can't picture it all the time. And that's like coming as like a teacher. But I do think the amount of social emotional learning that is put on teachers, like I think that should be more of a focus like for trainings and for education. Like I feel like that's just such a huge part of a teacher's job. And it kind of is like, I don't know, just get the kids to
yeah,
listen. Just send them to the
well,
principal's office.
I would say
Just suspend them. That's
they're
my favorite. That
in
people
like
tell me.
a in like a school setting. Like maybe we can't solve this on, like, the grand scheme of educational theory or whatever, but every school should orient their teachers and staff of how they think behavior and discipline should go. And it seems like there's very little guidance there. They just being like, set your expectations, make sure that they are clear, and if things get out of hand, you can give us a call. And that's
You
where
can
we're
give
at.
us a call. If there's
Yeah,
a
and
busy
you know what,
tone, call
they
back
call and
later.
they come, maybe, if they have the time. We have the staff on board that day, if they're not subbing for someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's fine. That's what we need. We do need that emergency call. We like, come right now, because we have the issues like that very, very frequently. But I think we would have less of those, oh crap, phone calls, if more teachers were consistent on how they're dealing with discipline and correction in the classroom. And I think I wanted to say like correction in the classroom more so than discipline, because it really is just like students need to learn to be corrected with their behavior. Because a lot of
Hmm.
students feel whenever they're getting corrected, they're getting attacked. They think that I'm coming in to abuse them, or they're responding in a way that I'm like, whoa, 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 I don't know why you're taking it this way. I just need you to not talk for like 1 minute. Then you can talk again. Totally can talk. But this one next minute, I need you to not talk. And they in it, that correction of like, how dare you tell me not to talk? Like
Yeah.
that to take that offense to that situation, and we're like, we need to reteach students how to be corrected, to be okay that no one's coming to hurt them. We just need them to do certain things so that we can all get along. um that's what
Yeah.
I've been trying to do.
I
Yeah.
have a book that I've been trying to read forever, and it's about like technology with kids. And I don't know, even this like feels technology related that like online people can be so mean because they're like hidden behind a screen and they'll just say like the craziest stuff. And then in person calling someone out, it's like I do feel like people take it harder, I guess. Like I mean, I guess I just feel like from like my most recent experiences, like I've kind of been shocked. Like I do feel like post COVID, like trying to have verbal just like conversations with people is like more challenging
Hmm.
just in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of our attention has gotten fractured since COVID because we entertained ourselves and were terrified by technology and screens for like 2 years, like, we felt like we had to pay attention to our screens because that could be the next important news that we need, so we lived in this constant anxiety that you need that information or else you maybe are, not going to survive, or I don't know. So, and, I don't think my students all felt that way during that time. 5 years ago, that would have put them at like
Like,
7, 6 years old,
yeah.
but parents, the way that they respond to things, that's all been transferred into
Oh,
our
totally.
kids, so they're just responding in the way that they've learned from their parents over those times. So I think a lot of this response, and to technology and all that, is really the reflection of parents' new relationship with technology.
Hmm.
Like parents have a new relationship, new addiction to social media and phones, where they used to be more in tune to responsibilities and things like that. I think it seems
Yeah.
like everyone's attention's fractured. I mean, even non-parents, our attentions are fractured. Mine too. I feel like I used to do art. I used to be an artist. I used to paint and stuff. Since I've discovered social media, I don't have time for that kind of stuff, or at least I don't think I do. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a massive thing that's happened to students, to adults, everyone.
Yeah. How many years have you been teaching again?
In public school, this is my 6th year.
Is there any tips that you would give to people new to teaching?
Um, yes, I have lots of tips.
You
I
kind of
don't
look
know if
like a
they're any
floating head
good.
right now, and I think they're all going to be good. So
Yeah.
do it. And then, because I
Yeah.
just realized what time it was. So we're going to keep going. I also do a tarot card reading at the end of my podcast. So do your
Awesome.
tips, and then we're going to tarot it up.
All right. Um, I would say uh, one important tip is just be patient. That you are building things year after year. So it feels like to build off of a year seems like a really, really long time. I really hated that. Like I have to wait an entire year before I feel like I got gained any growth. And you kind of do because you get thrown around so much in the beginning. Um, but after that, things start kind of making sense. As far as like, oh, learning from your own mistakes and experiences and stuff like that. The other big thing is just you gotta love yourself along the way. Like you could torture yourself and grade until the sun rises. Make sure you gave your students like the most amazing feedback ever. But 90% of the time, they're not going to care. And you know what? You need to feel good about yourself if you're going to come back the next day and not take a mental health day. And the more mental health days teachers take, the less education our kids get. And so I know that we all need them once in a while, but we need to not be relying on them in order to function as a teacher. So you have to take care of yourself all the time. So those are my big ones.
I love those. That's like being patient I mean, they were both like for yourself, which I mean, my favorite little teacher quote or parent quote is you can't pour from an empty glass.
Mm,
And
mm,
yeah, it's all about like, making sure that you are feeling like you're being patient with yourself, you're loving yourself, and you're like giving the space that you need to be the good teacher that the kids need. And yeah, if you're burning yourself out every day and then having to take, a day off because you have these crazy migraines because you're so stressed out, it ain't gonna work.
mm.
So I love that.
Yeah.
If anybody is wondering, we are the two favorite grandkids, nieces, nephews. I don't know. We're the favorites of the family.
Yep, we definitely are. Well, also, I think maybe the two most liberal, which I think our
Alani,
grandfather appreciates. Lonnie too. I don't, yeah, yeah, Lonnie is there too.
but
Okay.
yeah.
But our grandfather does, I think. I don't know if he appreciates us being liberal, but I appreciate him being liberal. That's kind of fun.
Well, that
Um,
that was I actually, it's not like a recent change anymore, but I appreciate the change.
yeah,
It's
it's
nice to know
interesting.
that you can continue to learn and grow even when you're like almost 100.
Uh-huh. And from Oklahoma.
Yeah. So a lot of embedded biases in there that he was able to push through and see the other side,
Yeah,
which is beautiful.
tis a beautiful story.
It is. Okay. What would you like a tarot card just like what your year is going to look like? Or do you have a specific question of like, are you going to cry a lot during this move?
No, I have a very specific situation, and I don't know what the question
Ooh.
is yet. But situation is, I just accepted my job for next year, which is my old job in Salem, Massachusetts. So I'm going to be teaching in my old classroom at my old school in
Oh my
Salem,
gosh.
which is great. They contacted me, they wanted me back, and they're like, so I'm like, all right, good, go where you're valued. That makes sense. But I didn't love it there. It wasn't perfect. It was still a very challenging school. So my question is this going to be a hard year, or could it possibly be just a tiny bit easier this year? That would be lovely. Just a little bit. I'll take
Okay.
anything.
Well, let's see. It's not looking good.
No,
It's
no.
not looking good. Five of Cups.
Okay.
Uh, the cat
I
looks
see
sad. The cat is
I see
crying.
sad tears.
Um, and all the frogs, even though some are upside down, they also are all sad.
Sad. All right. So
I'm
Salem,
sorry. Okay, let's
it's
see.
okay.
So cups is like water because there's like four, it's like the fire, earth, water, air. So cups
Mm-hmm.
are water, which is like
Yep.
emotions and relationships.
Okay.
The second you started talking, I stopped shuffling because I was like, this is it. And now I feel super bad. But who knows? Maybe sometimes these, let's
It's
see, let's
okay.
see. Okay. So, oh, it could be acceptance and healing. Tears
Ooh.
spill out of your eyes like water out of overturned cups, but there are still three full cups behind you if you just turn around to look. You may be disappointed because things haven't gone your way. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, try to pick yourself up and move forward. Think about what brought you here and what you can take from it to apply to future situations.
Okay.
You know what? I
So
think
it's
I've
not,
actually had this one before because I remember thinking like, wow, that's such a sad cup. Sad cup. Sad
such a
card.
sad cup, such a sad frog. No, it sounds like I'm gonna have a hard year, but don't be a sad sap about it. You know what to do. Got to do what you got to do, and stop trying to look for an easy way out.
And take your own advice. Be
Take
patient
my
with
own
yourself.
advice.
Love
Hmm.
yourself.
Love
Call your
myself.
favorite cousin and be like,
Call
hey,
my
what's
favorite
up?
cousin.
I haven't talked to you in like 10 years.
No, take little weekends and escape my life and go to Portland. That sounds great.
Heck yeah.
I want to do that.
Well, I don't know much about Portland, but I'll learn more. I'm
Wait,
like
don't
right
you live in?
outside. I'm like right outside of Portland. I'm
Well,
in
I mean, I gotta
Washington.
fly there, right? That's where I'd
Well,
come
yes,
to.
you'd be flying into Portland. So I'll
Okay.
pick you up. We'll go do Portland things. Stay weird is their thing that they'd say.
I just
And
want
then
to
we'll come
do
back
the
to the
Rose
suburban area.
Garden. I just want to see the
Oh,
Rose Garden.
that's I've actually done that, and that's super
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah,
So
that's what I
down.
want. Cool.
And we'll paint.
Yeah, I would like to paint.
We'll
That'd
do
be
art
fun.
again. I
Okay.
mean, I'm not a good painter, but like I'll do
Me neither.
something artistic.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
Kayla.
for being on my podcast.
You're welcome. Hopefully I wasn't ridiculous, but even if I was, you're welcome.
I miss you.
Thank you, everyone who have been here to listen. We are getting close to, I think I'm on like 65 episodes or something. So thank you, everyone who has been here and listened. It means so much to me. If you ever are looking for resources or services, go to inclusionstartsnow.com because that is literally where everything is. Any question that you have about the resources that I share. It is all on there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me on social media. I hope you have a great day. Inclusion starts with you, and I just want to help.